Rancho Cordova, so he's got a place. But I know that it takes a lot of time and effort to get somebody from the homeless stage. And I know you could call it unhoused, but my sister was never unhoused because she had family. So she was homeless though. She was homeless. And several times I tried to take her in and help her, but I just didn't know how to do it. You know, I did help her get a job once, and I helped her get an apartment. She got her apartment, but then she just went back. She couldn't maintain. So I know it's not easy to get from homeless to maintaining, and that's why we have Marcia and Family Promise. Because if I had have had Family Promise back then, you would believe I would be calling you for my sister. Anyway, anybody else want to talk about why they're here? Peggy. Yeah, come up here so everybody can hear you. Peggy is my cohort in this effort for Family Promise. We are the Family Promise liaisons, so if you have any questions about Family Promise, you could ask either one of us. She's the one you got the first emails from. So, Peggy Cranston.
Hi. Yeah, I'm here because of Elise. She solicited some help, so I decided to do it. I found out about it many years ago when my daughter was on a faith journey. Tried her here, I didn't fit. Anyway, she ended up at a Methodist church, and then now she's Catholic, so I don't know how all that worked. But anyway, when she was at St. Mark's, they had a Family Promise event there where they actually would stay there and then rotate, I think, through the congregations. Yeah. And so I helped when that was happening, and then when I found out that they have it here, I was excited, and I've done a couple of the work days at the tiny homes, doing a lot of gardening and weeding, but it's been a good experience. Thank you. And now, Fred?
We're on Zoom, evidently.
So as I said, Sally Wilkins invited me to go to a work day, which I did, and we pulled weeds and did all sorts of things over at Tiny Homes. I was really impressed with Robin at that time, and then as I got involved with the Community Partner Program here, and I was really found the program compelling. But what I really like about it, since I've gotten more involved, is kind of what Andy was talking about earlier, that the scope of homelessness is just so wide, and you get so overwhelmed by it. You know, I've been in business or was in business my whole life, and it was always about the bottom line. It was always about, you know, was this campaign successful? What was end result? And that's what I love about Family Promise, is not saving the entire world, but we're saving families and giving them the tools to be successful. And that's what I find compelling about it.
So is anybody? Meg Burnett.
I'm speaking as an old timer. I was here, well, when did they start Family Promise here? 25 years ago?
A long time ago.
Well, I remember learning about Family Promise nationwide, and churches in various cities would get together and house people at the churches, because the church Sunday school rooms weren't used all night, so they put people in their rooms at night, and so we started doing that. So I did that for many, many years. I was working all the time, so I kind of like to stay all night because I was a good sleeper then. Not so much now. And so whatever we could do, we did. We had members who brought dinners and breakfast and played with the kids and did homework with the kids. And then each family would have their own bedroom that we would fix up in one of our rooms there. And the other churches in our cohort, like St. Mark's, they would have the same group. We just didn't have them every week. So about 4 or 5 times a year we would have this. And it was easy. Now it's tiny homes, but they still, at least they have a roof over their heads every night. They don't have to move every week. Family Promise still has a daycare center, right, where they go to get help?
Yes.
Yeah, that's been constant. So every event I've gone through at the annual event, somebody stands up and says how their life was saved, and there are usually several. So it's worth it, every effort.
That's true for me too. It was Sally Wilkins that recruited me. That's why I'm here, really. That's what I was supposed to say in the beginning, is besides Sally Wilkins recruiting me, she was great. Anybody else want to say something about Family Promise? Sally? You have to come up here if you're going to say, if you want to. It's up to you.
Meg kind of gave the overview. Raise your hand, Meg. Oh, there you are. You gave an overview of what we used to do, more or less. Well, you heard that then. It took 60 people. Did she say that? It took 60 people to get going. And while we're not housing people here on site anymore, nor on any other church site, the families are much more stable in the tiny homes. You can see that. Children aren't moving every week, et cetera, et cetera. There are still many, many things to do. And when we hear from Marcia, you'll learn what those are. Did I miss anything, Meg? Well, our church has been involved for about 20 years. I've been here 10, and let's see, they were already at 12 or 13 years. So, it's been going on quite a while in Sacramento. We're so proud of it. Anyway, do you want me to introduce Marcia, or do you want to do that? Well, one of the most wonderful people I've met in the 10 years back in Sacramento is Marcia Spell, who is the executive director of Family Promise Chapter in Sacramento. Let's welcome her with a big hand.
Well, thank you for allowing me to come and speak just briefly about Family Promise. I want to tell you why I am here. You are all saying why you're here. I had been a director of a hospice for 23 years, and I retired and thought, my career of nonprofit management was done because I'd run a domestic violence shelter, a sexual assault center, and then hospice. So I saw the growing need back in early 2000 of how many homeless were on the streets. Now, I came from Southern California, and believe it or not, the homeless in the area I came from, Temecula, was not, you didn't see that many homeless, but as I'd go in the big cities, I would see. And I just wondered why something couldn't be done about it. So after a couple of years of golfing every day and getting tired of that, I thought, well, I'm gonna put my resume out there and see if anybody would wanna talk to a almost 60-year-old. And sure enough, I got several calls, but I got a call from Don Fado, who started Family Promise in Sacramento. And he said, would you be interested in flying up here and talking to us? And so I had been in Southern California since my early 20s, and my children were there, and I thought, you know, they're all busy with their own families. Why not try it? So I flew up here and they hired me. And then I had to make the decision, okay, close up the house down there. What am I going to do? Am I going to sell everything? Maybe I better wait to see if it even works out. And so I packed my little car up and drove up here, and that was in 2010. Of course, I had a lot of friends going, what are you doing? You're leaving your home, your security, and you're just going up there to work with homeless people. And I did. I think it was a calling for me. And I've been there now. This year will be my 16th year in April of 26. And I thought when I came up here, I would only be here like maybe 5 years. You know, I figure 65. Well, I just turned 74. And it gives me a purpose every day. And when I see what can be accomplished with sitting down and listening to these families, and I know all the volunteers that work on the phone that are here, you get some really gut-wrenching intakes, and you want to help everyone. But I call families in and interview them myself. And the ones you think for sure are positively ready, you never hear from again once I background check and drug test them. So they have to be ready. And as of right now, we have graduated, and that means coming through our 90-day program, 437 families. Yeah. And with them, you know, you think, oh, well, Family Promise has been around 20 years. UUSS has been with us since the beginning. And you would think, well, that's not a whole lot. But at the time when we were doing rotations through congregations, it would be 4 families at a time at the congregations. That's all any congregation could handle. And but then when COVID hit, we were faced with what do we do now? And so with the churches closing and a lot of things going online, we immediately put them into hotels at a discounted rate. I moved them several times because some of the places were just not fit to have families, to be honest. And I one day was talking to a girl that happened to work at the Marriott Hotel. And I know that sounds extravagant, but for the same price I was paying for Motel 6, I could get a room indoors where, you know, you don't just open your door out to the parking lot, because that's when a lot of things go on that's not very good. And I started housing the families at the Marriott, and 4 families. And this being stable and not moving each week really did make a difference. But then the door just opened up, because during that time, I had one of my volunteers, Robin Moore, which I know a lot of you know, had come up to me and asked me, what do you think about putting tiny homes on the back of my property? And I said, well, if you can achieve that through the city, let's go for it. I'll be right there with you. And she put 4 tiny homes back there, 1 communal tiny home, which has the kitchen and the bathrooms and so forth. And then we had 3 other tiny homes. Well, since then, we have gotten our 4th tiny home there. A local corporation here in Sacramento gave us the money to purchase from Cosumnes River College our next tiny home. So we've got 4 tiny homes, a resource center, and then the communal tiny home. And it's a little village. And if you ever want to go there, just please call me and I'll take you on a tour. And Robin was sorry she wanted to be here today, but she had some emergency surgery this week, and so I'm speaking on her behalf as well. Also, in this last year, we acquired from Loaves and Fishes to use a Victorian house that can house 2 families. And we have that downtown off of 12th Street. And that has been a real blessing because tiny homes cannot handle 4 children and a mom and a dad, but the Victorian house can. And it's full, and we're always full, almost all the time. As soon as someone moves out, graduate, I have appointments lined up with people coming in. I did want to touch just real quickly what I felt was the most important about being in Family Promise is all the income that we get, 86% goes back into programs directly helping those families as well as families in our community. So to me, that is something I'm very proud of. It's taken me a while to get us to that point. We also have money in reserve to make sure that if I drop over tomorrow, that it's going to continue on. And I'm just really proud that I was guided and brought up to Sacramento. And my children moved to Oregon and one moved to Tahoe, so they followed me. It's a pleasure to work there every day. I can't say we don't have heartache some days, because when you know that you can help a family and they just don't let it click or they don't want rules and regulations, we all have rules and regulations in our day-to-day life, but sometimes they're just not ready for that. But for the 437 that we have helped, and now 38 of those 437, 38 of them are now homeowners. So I know the skills that we bring to them about how to properly manage their money has really made a difference in their lives. Giving them advice, not always do they take it, but it's just, I can't even put it in words, the feeling it gives you when you see a family pull up and that you can see that they're feeling good about themselves, they're accomplishing things, their children are clean and fed, and they're wanting to give back to Family Promise. I'm very fortunate to have, I had wanted to work with chronic homeless, and I now realize I'm just not capable of that. Although I do have a master's degree in social work and a business degree in nonprofit management, the right place for me was doing exactly what I'm doing right now. And I'm really thankful for that. Yes. Sure. When we get an intake, it gives you all the bare basics that I need to know. Are you working? Are you trying to live off just cash aid? And I bring people in that aren't working, but when I've got a family out there, there's so many that are one paycheck away. If a car breaks down, forget it. It's either fix the car or pay their rent. They'll fix their car because they've got to get to work to have more money. And I totally understand it. And being a single parent myself and raising 2 children, most of the time by myself, really made me tighten the ship. And that's what I tell them. I tell them my story. This is how I did it. I know things are different now. It's, 40, 50 years later. But still, the same concepts there. You've got to learn to not go out and spend $160 on McDonald's $1 coffee in a month. And so what we do, rules is you have to come to case management once a week. You need to save after you look at your budget and your basic expenses like a car payment, car insurance, a cell phone, those general expenses. You have to, whatever's left over, you're required to save 70% of that income. We also initiated something a little different. Okay, that might leave a family with $300 or $400 extra dollars left over a month after they put their 70% away in savings. We ask them to give us the receipts of everything they spent. And I know that seems kind of strict, and some of them don't like it, but if we do a chart to show them, this is how much you spent on fast food, this is what you spent on gas, you know, this is what you spent on childcare. This is just, you know, Joe's Crab Shack that they shouldn't be eating at, or, you know, right now until they're financially more stable, or a gym membership, or a $100 pair of tennis shoes for a 2-year-old. You know, so you have to, I mean, people don't get it until you set them down and show them the receipts. Is that the best way? I mean, you work 40 hours a week, hard work, you say, and, you know, picking up the children and dropping off the children. Do you want your money to go toward that, or do you want to live within your means? And as you well know, our society has gotten way out of hand, a lot of people living way out of their means. So I think that's one of the most important rules that we have. While they're at the tiny homes or the Victorian house, they cannot have visitors. That's their private area, and we want to protect anyone that is living there, so we do not allow visitors. They can go out and visit whoever, whenever. If they need to spend the night overnight at a relative's, they give me a call and let me know that they're not going to be at the tiny homes or Victorian house. So really, that's basically the rules. Not anything any of us cannot live by when you're paying their rent, your utilities, their TV, their cable, because we pay Robin for these things, and we give them a gas card weekly. So I think by what we're giving out to them, they should be able, and most are, able to give us their receipts where we can manage their money. You know, baseball stars and football, they all have money management people. They don't manage their money. Some are good and some are bad. But what we do is look at the big picture for each one of them and try and make it a better place for them if they stick with that budget. And the ones that have been successful have stuck to a budget. So, yes. We do not allow drugs and alcohol in the system. It just, in our program, it's just can be too dangerous. We have had some families that came in with small amounts of marijuana in their system that you just get the gut feeling they're going to be successful, and they have been. They've been very successful. They graduated their program, never had a problem with them, and now they're thanking us for getting them clean because they felt they would have never been able to do it had we not stood by them. Yes? Is there any pattern that you have noticed with regard to the background story that they bring, or is it as diverse as everyone's story, or is there a pattern? No, it's pretty diverse. I think the families that are on just assistance and not working, maybe their stories are all similar because that's what they were brought up in. So it's that cycle of being on welfare or cash aid and food stamps. And, you know, one of the girls that I brought in was from Pakistan. Law enforcement called me and asked me in the middle of the night, could I come get this young Pakistani woman that's broken English and her 2 little boys, and she was pregnant. So I came down and went and picked her up, and we took her to the tiny home. She now speaks fluent English. Her children are doing wonderful in school. This has been 5 years ago now, 4.5 years ago. I was able to go, she had no family here, and I was able to go to the hospital with her when her baby was born. She had to have an emergency C-section. She wanted me to come in the room with her. I got to hold the baby. I mean, it was a real bonding time. She now works for me as our receptionist. So She had to drive. She's not on any assistance whatsoever. I went to court with her. She went through a divorce. That was really hard to see because she could not look at the gentleman. She just held her head down. But her last day there in court, she went into the courtroom strong and was able to say what needed to be said. And she got custody of her children. And she has done wonderful. She's been with me a year and a half as a receptionist. So I do have a wonderful story that we want to show a video of that I think will really encompass what Family Promise is all about. If we could show that.
I was a senior credit officer for a very well-known, large banking institution. I was award-winning. I was one of the top producers in our loan center. By 2005, I had been arrested for drug possession and was deep in an addiction that I couldn't seem to get away from or crawl out of. I lost my home. I lost my job. Now I was going to jail. My son was bouncing around from friend's house to friend's house just to have a roof over his head. I had a judge tell me that I could either serve some prison time or a program. I completed the program. I went down to Loaves and Fishes, never even heard of it before. And we didn't know what we were doing, but I had one really nice guy from Volunteers of America go, "You can go to the shelter at Cal Expo, but your son can't." So my son at that point, at 15 years old, was taken over to WIND. And I was sent over to Cal Expo to sleep in a trailer with 40 other women. It was a very depressing day. I had never been separated from him before. And none of the shelters would take us because he was over the age of 12. So I worked really hard during that month I was in that shelter to find us someplace that would take us. And I found Family Promise. And I brought my son over from WIND and got to be in Family Promise. I didn't know people helped other people just for the sake of doing it. And I was astounded by the number of volunteers and kind, humble people who would come to the church at night and serve us food. Just come chat, come help kids with their homework, play some games, watch a movie. It was comforting. It was a healing place to be. Within 3 months, we had case management. We had people that were helping guide us. You know, with God's grace, I was able to secure transitional housing for me and my son. At the same time, Family Promise called me back and said, "Hey, you know, we need a weekend monitor. You know, you can work a couple of days a week for us part-time, have a little extra money, get back on your feet, and kind of get back into the workforce." 6 years later, I was the case manager, and Family Promise was a huge part of my recovery, of reestablishing a relationship with my son, who was very angry with me for all the wreckage that I had accumulated and created through Family Promise and through the transitional program that I was able to. I had the opportunity to heal some things. It's been a very long journey. But because of the opportunities that Family Promise provided to me, I've been in the industry for the last 18 years, and I run a 163-bed homeless shelter and serve on the board of directors for Family Promise and one other nonprofit, and I'm grateful. You know, nothing is a coincidence. I believe that in my life. And I believe that God puts us places at the times we need to be there as long as we're open to the possibilities. And I can't wait for the next 18 years.
Video because Annie has done such a tremendous job giving back to our community and helping homeless when she was became a chronic homeless person herself. So I wish she was here today because she is definitely the reason I have stayed for 16 years for Family Promise. Because if we can help someone like her change her life and get into the field to help people or into any field of work and actually be life-changing, it's a blessing. I did want to say one thing. We always need volunteers. I know that Elise is always looking for volunteers to help in different ways. You can answer the phones. You can help at the garden. We have a beautiful garden at the tiny homes. And so come join us. I tell you, the song that was my second song that was sang today in the service, Put That Foot Forward. I'm so thankful that I put my foot forward, although I had many friends telling me, you don't want to do this. You're fine at where you're at. It's rewarding. And it gives me so much more, I don't know, a self-worth, a reason just to get up every day. And I'm thankful. So thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
You are an inspiration to us all, Marcia. Thank you. And it took you and this organization to teach me that sometimes it takes an organization, not just one person. So maybe for that family member, it would have been better if she would have had a program where she had to follow the rules. Would have been great. Anyway, our next work day is going to be in February, and there's sign-up sheets at the back. That sign-up sheet is just for getting an email. It doesn't commit you to working on the next work day.
They've all signed it by going around.
Oh, yay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Pardon me? Do you know the date? I don't yet. It's going to be towards the beginning of the month in February. We should have had one about a month ago, but I was doing this instead, so didn't do that one.
Thank you, Elise. Thank you so much.